in Tamil Nadu, and how exactly the incidents started unfurling. I'll show you. First, during the Friday, Prashant Kishore meets Stalin in the assembly. And then right after that, I don't have to say it's a Friday. You know Friday, what it means? The afternoon prayer, the noon prayer happens. And then right after that, people say that people gathered spontaneously, right? And there is no reason why they should, gather spontaneously, that too in thousands. And every time the Muslim leaders come back and say that no, we are not the ones, who created the riot, or it was not at all organized by us. But we have seen it in the past. Every time they issue a fatwa, they say that, okay, this is what, it's literally like a hit job, right? Saying that, okay, now you will go and do this. And this exactly people doing. And what they have this time done, they have taken women and kids to the street, crying in the CAA. CAA means what? They are now crying not for the so-called Hindus, not even for Christians, not even for Buddhists. They are crying for the Muslims who seceded from India. They went away from India in the name of religion, and they are actually minority. And where is the question of sex coming in? Where is the question of so-called caste or sect coming in from their majority community? It's all about majority versus minority. And are they applying the same rule here to say that, Hindu minority? For example, if a Muslim Shias are majority in a place, then you call Tevars or Nadars or Brahmins, who are all minority here, then whom they should be protecting?
Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today we have a new guest. We have not had this person before. He is a very popular TV debate panelist and also a Virat Hindustan Sangam Tamil Nadu coordinator. Meet Ramesh Sethu. Ramesh, welcome to PGurus channel.
Vanakkam, Sri.
So, Vanakkam Ramesh. So, viewers, you may have seen Ramesh in any of the VHS conventions. Ramesh has been a very active member of VHS. Perhaps he goes back even further to the time when we used to have these PTs, Patriotic People Conferences. And Ramesh has, he is a vice president in a very big IT company, and he wears his accolades very, very lightly. He's a very down-to-earth person, very knowledgeable on technology, politics, dharma, you name it. He has seen it, experienced it up close and personal. Now, I want to share something that happened in Tamil Nadu in the last few days that is absolutely mind-boggling. We've seen this 60 plus days of Shaheen Bagh protests. What you saw something is the next stage perhaps of what we are going to see in the years or the weeks and months to come. Ramesh, in your own words, why don't you start from the point where the pro-CAA people approached the police commissioner of Coimbatore for a rally?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank you for your kind words, Sri. And with respect to this entire CAA thing, see, one thing we have to look at, the first and foremost thing is that the minority appeasement. Of course, we have seen it across the country, but in some states, it becomes extremely, extremely important. One is West Bengal and some part of Northeast, and Tamil Nadu too, and of course Kerala. Why Tamil Nadu? So Tamil Nadu, if you look at it, it has been considered as a point of appeasement for minorities. I'll tell you, a classic example is that you know about HRNC.
Yes.
Right? And as far as HRNC is concerned, it only focuses on Hindu and Hindu temples and the related organizations. Whereas when it comes to contribution to the public exchequer from any of the religious institutions, you know very well, it comes from only the Hindu temples. In the name of tax, in the name of collection of money, land revenue, everything. Right? In fact, I would say that the government loots. I wouldn't even say that they utilize. I would categorically say the government keeps on looting the Hindus' money, Hindu temples' money, and then they spend it elsewhere. Okay, when we say they spend it elsewhere, they spend it even on the so-called minority institutions and the minority religions, which are trying to cannibalize this Hindu institutions and the Hinduism itself. And the biggest challenge in Tamil Nadu is that the government will give subsidy for anything and everything, like whether for pilgrimage of this minority religious people, or for you name, even taking care of their so-called churches or mosques. The recent one, if you look at a recent announcement from the Tamil Nadu CM or the Tamil Nadu government itself, is that they are spending crores and crores every year. They are allocating it for renovations of churches and mosques, whereas not a single penny comes back to the government from these kind of institutions, which is absolutely atrocious. And second part, all these minority appeasement, they do it because they want the vote bank of these minority institutions. We have seen it not only in the northern part of the country, but specifically in Tamil Nadu. If you look at mosques, a fatwa will be called out to say that, to whom the Muslims need to vote for. And mostly it would be, DMK kind of parties, or somebody like Vidudalai Chirtegal Katchi, VCK, which is an alliance to the DMK party, or the so-called Congress party, which is also alliance to the DMK party in the state. And for the very simple reason that they help these minority people to continue their religious agenda. When I say continue the religious agenda, it includes Christianity conversion and Muslims' dominance in the name of so-called Sharia law or whatever it is. And it is a major threat to the so-called secularism or religious harmony of the state. And what is surprising is that these parties call themselves as secular. These parties call themselves as saviors of downtrodden, but it is always the other way around. I'll tell you a few examples, right? Even as before we get into the CAA thing, I was talking about 3 important years in the last decade which we have to consider. One is 2012. 2012, when Jayalalitha was in power in Tamil Nadu and Congress was in the center. And what happened was somebody took a film about, I think it was called Innocence of Islam or whatever it is. And it happened somewhere else. But the Muslim outfits literally created a law and order issue in Chennai by attacking the American embassy. And it became a very huge issue. And it instilled a panic in the minds of people of Chennai. It was, and I've personally seen it, how, what kind of a thing it was. It was a huge ruckus. And then, after that 2014, BJP came to power, and then Jayalalitha's ADMK continues to be in power. In 2015, there was an incident in Ambur. In Ambur, the Muslim people gathered in front of the police station and started attacking the police station, burning police vehicles, and they went up to the point of literally taking all the weapons and started attacking the policemen brutally. And after this, the audacious, one of the Muslim leader who was very audacious to even go and see those policemen in the hospital, only to convey an indirect message that I'm not afraid of you. did he wanted to go and see that whether the police is afraid of his community. And then every time they do this and then come back and give an excuse saying that, whomever is doing it is mentally unstable. Okay. And then they will try to divert the case or dilute the case. And whomever is coming as a witness, they will threaten them saying that you have a family and we have people to do anything to you. So beware, right? And that is still in pending. And third incident, which happened in 2018 in a small village near Theni, and there were 2 deaths in a place, and one death of one death was there in a community where the person who died was from a downtrodden community, and because there were 2 deaths, they didn't want to take the procession in the same route. So this community people, they wanted to take it through an area where there is Muslim majority. The Muslims stopped the dead body, and then they started attacking the people, and it turned into I wouldn't even call a communal riot or a religious riot. And it went on for 3 days. And very surprisingly, the person who is calling himself as friendly to the minority community and also the savior of so-called Dalit community, both whether Stalin or Karnanidhi or even Vidalai Chirthigal Katchi, Thirumavalavan, none of them spoke about this atrocious incident. And what happened was, after 3-4 days, after the damage was done, the guy from the Vidalai Chirthigal Katchi, Thirumavalavan, visits this village. And the people who are from the Dalit community drove him away. And he was about to get beaten up, in fact. So they were so ferocious, and they said, where did you go when this whole thing was happening? You kept quiet. And this is ridiculous. And, they were literally furious. And this is what continues to happen. And by the way, I was talking about the incidents in 2012 in Mount Road, where the US Consulate General was attacked.
Yes.
And other than the Muslim party and the Muslim outfits flags, the other flag which was prominently, was shown there was BCK.
I see.
So,
this guy is Thirumavalavan is, let's say that he sets the bar rather low, because I have seen some videos of him being abused by Sri Lankan Tamils because evidently he had collected money and he had swallowed all of it, and the next trip they were just yelling and screaming at him. There are videos of that on YouTube, and this guy gets angry and starts throwing money back at them. And essentially it was a nasty scene. So these are all fronts. These are all faces. In my opinion, DNK puts all these people for plausible deniability later. DK, BCK, that Sebastian, Simon, any other, what the other nutcase. These are all now members of parliament.
You perfectly called it out, but I would like to give a simple structure to it. So just imagine, DNK is the nucleus.
Yes.
So it is the queen bee, right? Or queen termite, I would call it. And then around this, you have these so-called political outfits, religious and communally divisive political outfits. Following the outside that, there is a perimeter which is Dravidian DK, they call it, right? Dravidar Kadagam.
Yes.
So outside that, you have the so-called political activists. So there are many outfits like the you name it, the guys who were protesting against this nuclear plant, the guys who come out and protest against this shale gas extraction, or you name it.
Anything productive, anything that would create jobs.
Exactly. More than creating job, something that could impact economy in many ways. And for example, if we could extract the shale gas, then we can actually use it for fulfilling our LPG needs, but they don't want it. They come and what do you call, terrorist people by saying that, they are going to use some atomic materials for fracking. It will lead to, earthquake. It's going to spoil your entire village, whatever it is. So many things they are doing. And coming back to the main topic, CAA. So the day, the day the government came with the CAA, this one,
yes, bill, pass the bill, yeah.
Pass the bill. Immediately, the protest started erupting in Tamil Nadu. Why it started erupting? Because there are, as you know, DMK and other parties started saying that it is against the interest and safety of the minorities, which is not the truth in any case. And what has happened was, in every village, in every district, wherever the Muslim are in large numbers, they started making a political propaganda. And they said that we have to show the central government and state government what our power is. And why they want to do that also we need to understand. We are talking about infiltration. I'm using the word infiltration of Rohingyas. And infiltration, when I say infiltration, obviously it is illegal, right? Bangladeshi Muslims, it is not just happening in Kashmir, it is not just happening in West Bengal, it is not just happening in Assam. It is now majorly happening in Tamil Nadu too. And all these Muslim outfits, their businesses they have, they are employing only these kind of immigrants because they come at so-called cheap salary or whatever it is, for cheap pay. And also they want to use them as the so-called hitman for attacking any temples or any of the Hindu religious institutions.
So again, arm's length deniability. Arm's length deniability.
Exactly, because if somebody is getting caught at max, that guy is going to get deported.
Right.
And because he's anyway illegally inside, and all what the government would do is, okay, let me deport you. So these guys want to strengthen their presence in the name of religion, and for that they are ready to go to any extent. This is nothing but showcasing of believing in the caliphate more than believing in the nation called India. So this is very, very surprising. I wouldn't call it surprising, but it is definitely shocking and rather terrorizing.
Yes, at least mentally, at least. So let's get back to the incident that rolled this latest wave of stuff that has caught the entire state by surprise. So when was it that the pro-CAA rally people went and requested permission?
Okay, so again, before this, I would like to give you a very simple hint, and you will be able to know why it is happening now. I'm sure it happened in Coimbatore. Coimbatore is seen as always, what do you call, fire pot, right? The reason is that there is always fire there because Muslim majority, the Muslim community, they are always active because since Advani days when the bomb blast happened. So there is always a rift which is between the so-called Hindu community and the Muslim community. It is very much evident. It shows up both during the election or any kind of minor incident that happens. And recently, I would like to tell you, the DMK has signed with Prashant Kishore as the election strategist for 2021 election. Right?
Yes, yes.
Very recently. And the CAA protests, of course, it happened across the country for a very simple reason that, most of the states, wherever there was an election that was about to happen, whether it was a state election or a midterm poll or state assembly election or a midterm poll, or in Tamil Nadu, we used to call it the corporation election, where you elect your local corporate bodies, members. And what happened was, surprisingly, this succeeded right after this election got over. And suddenly it started erupting because the Muslim community wanted to show what their strength is and how united they are. And when I spoke about Prashant Kishore incident, Prashant Kishore clearly want to use CAA for his commercial propaganda. What is political propaganda for AAP? What is political propaganda for possibly for Nitish? What is political propaganda for Jagan? What is political propaganda for Stalin? Is a commercial propaganda for Prashant Kishore. So what Prashant Kishore is doing is using the CAA against the body other parties to consolidate the vote share of Muslims and use it for winning. That is what exactly we have seen in Delhi also. And the consolidation has done the damages also. I'll tell you, in Delhi, the so-called education minister, who is Manish Sisodia, who claims to have done so much of reforms in this thing, and while AAP claims that they have won purely based on development, that guy won the election with hardly few thousand votes. Whereas in the Shaheen Bagh protest, the guy, I think Sharjil Imam, who called out to even cut Assam from the rest of India, that guy supported a Muslim candidate, and he won with, I think, 30,000 votes or something.
Yeah, a thumping majority, yes.
Yeah, if it is a thumping majority, then where is the question of so-called development? So it is very clear.
So look, I think we have to understand one thing, that unless the your butt is burning, some don't have the realization of what is going on. I always equate this to, supposing you have a big anda of water, big bowl of water, and you slow burn it. The water is cool, and then slowly it is becoming hotter. And if you put a frog in it, the frog doesn't realize that it is being slow cooked.
Exactly.
That's exactly what is happening with Hindus. If you had a boiling pan of water and you try to put a frog in, it will jump out right away. So what you're seeing in places where the consolidation of Hindus happens more is when the critical mass of the minorities goes to a certain point where you can see that you are now having a existential crisis.
Exactly. So, right? Coming back to Prashant Kishore's point, that's what I was saying. He used this CAA agenda in Delhi. And we have seen it. Of course, BJP made a lot of mistakes. They even said that, anti-national should be shot. The moment they said that, look how it was staged by the opposite party. It is very simply being used for their political agenda. And how the media, as well as this other political parties, started painting it as they are all ABVP guys, they are all RSS guys, they are all, Hindutva guys. So that is how they wanted to turn the narrative and, harvest the vote in their favor. That is how they have done it exactly. And that is the exact reason, because Nitish, when election happens in Bihar, if he is going to have another term, probably Prashant Kishore, who was a vice president then in the party, thought that he has to also play the same cards to bring back his party to power. But Nitish, being a nationalist, no matter what, he was against it. That is the reason why I think Prashant Kishore was booted out. So he was shown the door saying that, hey, enough is enough. Because I think probably Prashant Kishore wanted to slowly hijack the party, and clearly, I think the leadership here has seen the threat. What is coming up?
Yes,
and happening as a pattern now. That is what is happening in Tamil Nadu, and how exactly the incidents started unfurling. I'll show you. First, during the Friday, Prashant Kishore meets Stalin in the assembly. And then right after that, I don't have to say it's a Friday. Friday, what it means. The afternoon prayer, the noon prayer happens. And then right after that, people say that people gathered spontaneously. Right? And there is no reason why they should, gather spontaneously, that too in thousands. And every time the Muslim leaders come back and say that, no, we are not the ones, who created the riot, or it was not at all organized by us. But we have seen it in the past. Every time they issue a fatwa, they say that, okay, this is what, it's literally like a hit job, right? Saying that, okay, now you will go and do this, and this exactly people doing. And what they have this time done, they have taken women and kids to the street, which is absolutely unacceptable, but they wanted to create an issue with this. And it continues for one day peacefully. The next day also it continues. Where it happens, the constituency of the so-called finance minister, Jay Kumar, that is exactly it starts. So they are moving their coins very clearly. So they are targeting the important leaders of ADMK who are in power. So one after the other. So now I'm suspecting that after this, it would happen in other districts also, where either the Muslims are majority or where the ADMK's important leaders are holding their MLA. They have won their MLA seat. So this is very, very, done in a very structural way, and it is very, very evident also.
Well, you see, Prashant Kishore has a bit of a history here. He is allegedly the one who helped Modi to come to power in 2014. Although I kind of discount that a little bit because there was such a wave against the Congress at that time. For Prashant Kishore to claim that he was part of that story, I don't know. But anyway, he was part of the Modi camp at that point, and then there was a parting of ways, and then Prashant Kishore helped Lalu and Nitish to win in Bihar, and his aura was set. After that, he has had a few hits and a few misses also, right? I mean, it's not like he's been winning every election. Be that as it may, the specific incident here, there appears to have been some sort of a cause and effect. People were saying that what happened at Washerman Pet on Friday night?
Yeah, Friday evening it started, right? Okay. And Saturday it happens. And what was surprising is that 7:30 the protest again happens on Saturday. Why should they do it at night? When they do that, and they say that, we are peacefully gathered, but the police did not give permission. See, even any Hindu outfit goes and seeks for permission, the police denies it. And on top of it, even if 10 people gather, they are like beaten like anything by police. But police don't touch the minority people usually because of this, political appeasement, right? So they don't give, they have not been given the free hand. Even in the Ambur incident I was talking about, that's exactly the case. And what happened was in this Washerman Pet, everything was happening, and somebody started throwing stones at police. And interestingly, 4 policemen are hospitalized. Okay, and whereas these guys were taking lathi charge against these protesters, and there was no any major this thing for any of the people. But what they did was they took a video and started spreading it in WhatsApp among the Muslim community. They said that 2 people died, 1 person died in this lathi charge, and many people had, the head got broken and so many things. There is no such thing in reality. And as they started spreading the false fake message, the so-called communal tension started erupting across the state in the important cities. And that again, I see it as nothing but a political game that is being played. They wanted an excuse. What is important is 7 o'clock this dharna starts, and then by 8 o'clock the posters appears across the city. Now, how quickly they are able to move it? They call this whole incident as unorganized. People all came voluntarily, but then how this whole thing happened? How this so-called posters started appearing? I mean, even if you want to mobilize posters, it takes about 5-6 solid hours. Right? You have to design it, then you have to print it. After you print it, you have to give it to people who can take it across the city, and then you have to paste it. Everything happened in less than 2 hours time. How is it even possible? So it is very, very pre-planned. They have clearly had it. And another thing that I see is that the MP from DMK, Kanimodi, and apparently who is also the daughter of Karnanidhi, she comes and says that, the police officer who was in Thoothukudi during this riots, the same guy is here. But my suspicion is that when that day was there, the so-called protest happened, the violence happened, and the same guy is here. What if that the police officer they are referring to is their person? who is indirectly also supporting you. We have to see this way also. Maybe they didn't want the guy to be pinned on them, so just to disown, they are probably calling him as the pro-government and pro-ADMK guy.
Well, there are any number of subplots that can ring up, but I think the takeaway from this is that there is an organized protest, and all these protests appear to put the children and women in front, so that the real troublemakers stay behind. And when they do a dharna, then you can't evacuate them from main street, so you cause inconvenience. And it's just going on and on and so on and so forth. So the way to tackle this is to be able to preempt all these things, because intelligence should be doing its job. They should be able to figure out from all these Friday speeches that something of this kind is going to happen. They can say whatever they want. In fact, you are supposed to only pray in mosques, but we know for a fact that all over India, perhaps even outside, there's all sorts of stuff that gets talked there, and people like sheep just go and listen and act accordingly. So this is essentially harming them more than it is harming the majority community, in my opinion, because what happens is, people's minds are decided, they make up their minds, and then what happens at a very subtle level, a certain religious community will be avoided. People will stop buying from them. People will stop using their services, and what little income these people will be making, all those things go away. Now, this is one part of the problem. The other bigger danger, in my opinion, is what I wrote in my book. I'm sorry to keep bringing back my book into all these discussions.
It was a wonderful one. I mean, I think the readers and the viewers should read it. Please go ahead. I know. Yeah, I've read it.
So the fake currency has been distributed only to the Muslim community in Kerala. And now I'm hearing news, because all these comments are coming, whether it is video hangouts or emails. People are saying that this money is now being used to buy property in the adjacent states. First of all, the people who got this money, they have managed to launder it so that it now looks like it is regular money. And now you have this other problem. How is it that people are getting, like, for example, Shaheen Bagh, people are being paid 500,000 rupees. Is that cash being distributed? I didn't see any cash. Was it something else? Do you know anything else, Ramesh?
No. I was told that even cash is being distributed. Or in all possible perks they are looking for. It could be mobile recharge, it could be Paytm wallet, it could be anything, right? And what I have actually heard about is that it has got 3 tariff levels. One of the ideologies was mentioning, it's saying, some 500 rupees, 800 rupees, 1,000 rupees.
I see.
Morning shift 500, afternoon shift 800, and then night shift 1,000.
I see.
So that's the way they are spending the money. And of course, people go for money, nothing else. As long as they are earning money, they are going to go and then, for example, in 30 days, if people are going to go and have a night shift, simply go there and sleep. For that, you are getting paid 1,000 rupees. They'll be very happy, 30,000 rupees. Right? So the money plays a major role, when we have seen it in the past too. And apart from this, you are talking about a particular community who is involved in so-called money laundering as well as fake currency distribution. You know very well that from Pakistan we have always been experiencing this counterfeit notes, and after Chidambaram sold the old currency printing machines to Pakistan,
yes,
and also they started continuing to procure the paper from Delaru, which also supplies paper to Pakistan.
He eliminated every possible alternative, every variable. He just eliminated all the variables.
After that, the zero error counterfeit started appearing. Right, a zero error counterfeit, and it used to come through Nepal. Why Pakistan? They go around and then bring it through Nepal. That is one way. Second thing is Kerala. How in Kerala? Of course, they take it to Middle East. Via Middle East, they possibly bring it, and we have seen it in the past, and they used to get caught. And it is absolutely surprising. And we are even saying that 99 point XX, even 99.9 or whatever it is the amount of money that has come back to the bank during demonetization. But the government was destroying all the currencies in a hurry, old currency in a hurry. But what is surprising is that nobody knows how many of them are fake and how many of them are real, because the serial number, the serial numbers what were getting circulated, that exact serial number in which they were getting printed, and you couldn't tell what is what, which one is which one. And there were also a suspicion that some bank, some private bank, was involved in this double money circulation.
Right? Yes.
And it is I mean, look at the kind of damage they have done to the economy, right? And it's surprising. And today the parties who are getting their funding are the ones who are crying in the CAA. CAA means what? They are now crying not for the so-called Hindus, not even for Christians, not even for Buddhists. They are crying for the Muslims who seceded from India. They went away from India in the name of religion, and they are actually minority. And where is the question of sex coming in? Where is the question of so-called caste or sect coming in from their majority community? It's all about majority versus minority. And are they applying the same rule here to say that, Hindu minority? For example, if a Muslim Shias are majority in a place, then you call Tevars or Nadars or Brahmins, who are all minority here, then whom they should be protecting? They always go after this vote bank. When they call minority vote bank, they always go to the religious vote bank.
Well, I can say this is a big, clear and present danger. What has happened is, thus far, the money used to be in Kerala, and they were, they bought up the complete oceanfront and riverfront in Kerala. They've also bought up land along highways, and I'm hearing that the same thing is repeating itself in Tamil Nadu also. And yes, this is free money. This is free money.
When Shardul Imam was saying that, we have to cut Assam from rest of India, that can easily happen today in and around Tamil Nadu also, because in all the highways, all the mass that is being built, it has been told that the money comes from overseas as a fund, religious donation. But once they do that, the next thing what happens is, again, mosque is only a convention center, unlike temple, right? So why they build it means that they can convert people in and around, or settle Muslims from somewhere else. And then again, that they can use as a choking point. I'm not saying they are doing it today, but they can. That is always, a suspicion in the minds of the people. So, just imagine if they can arrange such protests, if the protest can erupt overnight across the state, imagine what they can do in taking a particular district and cutting it from the rest of the state. They can do that, or even take the state and cut it from the rest of the country, and create a very big issue.
You see, there are several pressure points building up. If you think about what happened in the 1971 war, I was a school-going boy, but I used to remember that on every purchase, 5 paisa extra everybody had to pay for refugee fund. Okay, people came over from this war-torn area. None of them went back. They all stayed here. Right. So that is how Bengal got messed up. Now think about it.
People are talking about Sri Lankan Tamil. What is happening is, the Sri Lankan Tamil, the political parties here used to say Hindus are not Tamils. Tamils are not Hindus. And today they are crying that, the Tamils from Sri Lanka are Hindus. Why are you not taking them in? Of course, whomever came legally, they were given citizenship also.
Right.
And whomever came without the documents, they are put in camp. And that is the procedure. And of course, now there is a stable government that is there in Sri Lanka. And the Indian government is spending crores and crores on resettlement and rehabilitation of these Sri Lankan Tamils who came as refugee without any proper documentation, or even whomever is willing to go. So thousands of 40,000, 30,000 houses are being built and given to them. And why not use it to your favor, and then go back and settle in the country from where you came from? So that is the question. But they want again use it for political agenda. They want to show these people and their disastrous state of life to collect money from overseas Tamils, Sri Lankan Tamils, saying that look, this is what is happening, whatever it is. But they also started waking up. That's what is happening, and that's the thing we have seen when Thirumalan visited the foreign nation, and then the people started.
Yes. So see, if there is free money, anybody will do anything. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that one particular community is at fault here. If anybody is given money just like that, they will take it. Why else are people, why else would people be, buying lottery tickets? That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is, right?
exactly. But I would put it the other way around. So there is nothing called free lunch, right?
Yes, there is no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah, and when you get a free food, probably you are the food next.
Yes, you are then. Yeah. So there's a very famous American saying that it is that if you are not at the table, you are on the menu. So, so we don't want to sound alarmist, but you should be able to kind of, extrapolate and put what is going to happen next. For example, if there is unrest in Pakistan, the CAA bill now effectively legally prevents the government from taking in any refugees. That could be also one way to look at it. And that could also be one of the reasons why this one particular community is jumping up and down. Because they may have thought that one quick way to increase percentages, especially in states like Rajasthan and Gujarat, where there isn't much Muslim population, just allow refugees to come in, right? So these kinds of things are now becoming a little bit harder. Modi government also is acting faster. I think it all goes back to it's the problem is in Kerala. The problem needs to be addressed in Kerala. You have to do that thing there. The NIA, the IB, I'm sure they have 100,000 times more data than what is being portrayed in my book. The book just kind of conceptually talks about what is going on, but there is much more problems that are at play. In fact, now the Syro-Christian Church also has written to the Home Minister saying 4,000 girls have been affected by love jihad. Hindus have been saying this. In fact, now many people are beginning to show on social media the rate chart that has come up.
Exactly. So there is that has happened in the past, and
yes,
that is new. And also, recent incident happened. A guy whom a girl married for 5 years. After 5 years only, she came to know he's a Muslim.
I see.
So it's shocking, right? And a guy with the name Sonu, later on she came to know that he's not Sonu and he's somebody else, and that was a very big news recently. So I think just to summarize everything, I think the central government need to wake up what is coming up. Because if it goes uncontrollable beyond a point, both for state government and central government, it is it would impact not just a state but the entire nation itself.
Yes, and I mean, and also one takeaway here is this current leadership in all these states are so terrible at leading that they don't really know how to govern. And I mean, this is the quality, because what happened was Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha kept everything to themselves. And when these two exited the scene, nobody else knows how to pull all the things together, how to give a pretense that things are going okay, that even the pretension is going away. So some of these states have to be looked at much more closely. And I'm hoping that this will serve as a wake up. And you've lost once in Delhi. I hope the BJP coalition now starts countering this much more effectively. Thank you very much, Ramesh. It was a very fascinating conversation.
Thank you very much, Sri. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.